Hello everyone, and welcome back to another lecture. Today we'll be discussing the economic impacts of globalization. In the last lesson, we explored the driving forces behind globalization. Now let's look at what globalization means for economies, both globally and locally. To start, it's important to understand what we mean by the global economy. Every country contributes in some way, whether large or small, and together they form an interconnected web. The United States and China, for instance, are currently the world's two largest economies. A key feature of this global economy is international trade, countries buying, selling, and investing across borders. One form of this is foreign direct investment, or FDI, where companies or countries invest in businesses overseas, bringing in not just money, but also new equipment, technology, and expertise. The goal is always to generate profit and growth, both for the investor and the host country. This brings us to economic competitiveness. How well a country does in the global economy depends on its infrastructure, technology, business costs, and political stability. Singapore, for example, is consistently ranked among the world's most competitive economies due to its stable government, open economy, and excellent infrastructure. So what are the economic impacts of globalization on countries? There are both positive and negative effects. Let's start with the positives. When globalization stimulates economic growth, countries benefit from increased tax revenue, more job opportunities, and higher standards of living. With more resources, governments can invest in infrastructure and services that improve life for everyone. For a country like Singapore, with a small domestic market and few natural resources, participating in the global economy is essential. Exporting goods and services to the rest of the world has allowed Singapore to thrive. Our strategic location along major shipping routes and our ability to adapt, switching from labor-intensive industries to high-value manufacturing and financial services, have helped keep our economy strong and resilient. However, globalization also brings economic vulnerability. Because countries are so interconnected, a crisis in one part of the world can quickly spread to others. When a major economy like the United States enters a recession, the effects ripple out globally. For example, during the 2008 global financial crisis, economies everywhere suffered. China and India saw a drop in investments and rising unemployment, and Singapore went into recession as well. Our reliance on the global economy means we can't simply cut ourselves off when trouble hits. We're affected no matter what happens elsewhere. Recent events such as the COVID-19 pandemic, US-China trade tensions, the Russia-Ukraine war, and instability in the Middle East have all disrupted supply chains and driven up global prices for essentials like food and energy. When key producers of oil, gas, or grain are affected, the cost increases for everyone, even in countries far from the conflict. These events show just how closely connected and vulnerable we are in a globalized world. On an individual level, globalization can mean more employment opportunities. Economic growth and access to global markets create more jobs, and multinational companies invest in advanced technologies and higher skilled positions, often with better wages. Digital technology and improved transport also make it easier to find work, not just at home but overseas as well. However, this also means increased competition. As economies grow and labor costs rise, companies may relocate to countries with cheaper workers, leading to job losses at home. Automation and AI can replace routine jobs, adding to employment challenges. And as people move more freely for work, you might find yourself competing with others from all over the world for the same position. So how do we respond to these challenges? Governments work to manage globalization's risks through cooperation and innovation. Free trade agreements such as the Singapore-Australia Free Trade Agreement or the EU-Singapore FTA remove tariffs and make cross-border business more attractive. Agencies like MAS and GIC work to attract foreign investment and ensure Singapore remains a desirable place to do business, while also investing our own reserves overseas. Financial support is another response. During tough times, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, the government introduced support packages to help individuals and businesses stay afloat. Developing expertise and encouraging innovation are also important. By supporting research, digitalization, and upskilling, Singapore helps its companies and workers stay competitive in a fast-changing world. For individuals, lifelong learning and flexibility are key. Upskilling through initiatives like Skills Future, staying informed about market trends, and saving and investing wisely all help people remain relevant and resilient in the face of change. Tripartism, where government, employers, and unions work together, also helps balance business competitiveness with fair treatment for workers. In conclusion, globalization is a double-edged sword. It brings both opportunities and challenges, benefiting some while creating risks for others. The most important thing is how we respond. By adapting, cooperating, and staying prepared, we can make the most of globalization's benefits while minimizing its downsides. That wraps up our discussion on the economic impacts of globalization. Remember to focus on the roles of both governments and individuals, the positives and negatives, and the ways we can respond to vulnerability and change. Keep studying hard. There are just 2 more topics to go. Good luck with your revision, and I'll see you in the next video.